The United stand. Manchester United 2, Liverpool 1. Yes, that's right. We have finally won a game of football. It feels like a very, very long time since I've said that. We're here with Jay, Jordan, and Holly. How is everyone after that win? Jordan, start with you.
Yeah, absolutely buzzing, to be honest. It was everything that we want our team to show: passion, pride, tenacity, some kind of game plan. So yeah, really good to sit here, talk to you guys on a positive result.
Yeah, and Jay, obviously the therapy stand seems to have been put on hold for now. How are you feeling?
Well, actually, at half time, I was getting DMs from two Liverpool channels asking to come on and host a therapy stand for them. But I said, no, guys, I'm contracted to United stand. So we're over here tonight.
That's good. I enjoyed that one. And Holly, first time, obviously, we've actually been on together. How did you find the game?
Yeah, I'm so buzzing we won. I can't believe it. Like, it's the first time I've actually watched a game and thought we actually really deserved to win, and we fought for that win as well. So I'm honestly buzzing. It's still a bit hard to believe, actually, especially against Liverpool. I'm chuffed.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot to kind of get into, and a lot of positives that we obviously haven't seen for quite a while, which I actually touched on earlier on today in kind of a pre-match preview. I mentioned that regardless of the result, we obviously wanted to see sort of grit, determination, and put up a fight out there, because we know that Liverpool can obviously turn any team over if they want to. So it was obviously nice. Regardless of the result, that we actually put in a performance. But obviously, the kind of how I want to get into this is talk about obviously the result, that being a win first off, and just broad thoughts on how our team performed today. Jay, what's your thoughts on how the team performed, and obviously what could possibly be improvements? Obviously, there's always improvements to be made.
Well, if we're basing it off the last two games, anything was going to be a performance. Yeah, but performance. The best performance, I thought, man of the match for me was Harry Maguire. Best performance ever in out of shirt. Leadership personified tonight. Setting the bench, kept his mouth shut, and we come away with the win. Simple performance. I feel as long as we have a ghost in that midfield, which is Scott McTominay, we're on a road to nowhere. But this week, the girls just hit the panic button. We got in Casemiro, so he's going to be replaced. But the performance is great. We got the win. But fans cannot lose sight of the bigger picture. And we all still have to be this out. We all still have to keep banging that drum, irrespective of the performance. Jordan and Holly, if we win next 10 games, you know what's going to happen. The momentum has built up now, still out of the club, will subside. I think that will be a bit of a disaster. So a win is a win, but it's 35 games to go, and we cannot lose sight of the bigger picture, which is the long-term future of our club.
Yeah, I actually tweeted out just after the game saying how obviously despite the result, let's keep kind of the bigger picture in hand, and obviously that is getting the Glazers out of the club. And again, as you say, we could go on to win kind of the next 10 games, but it is keeping that bigger picture in mind. But what do you think, Jordan, in terms of obviously we've moved out of the relegation zone 3 games in? Never thought I'd be saying that, but what do you think that result does mean for Manchester United moving forward? Obviously, it fills us with some confidence, don't you think?
Yeah, just to reiterate Jay's point, 1 game, 10 games, if they spend 60 million on a midfielder, or they buy 8 players and spend 300 million, what we want is a change of ownership, and we have to keep that same momentum. So 100%, we can't lose focus of what the ultimate goal is. But as fans, we are allowed to enjoy a result and a performance, given where we've been over the last couple of games, and even towards the end of last season. So we're allowed to enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with enjoying it. I'm glad there was a reaction from the Brentford game, but more importantly, I'm glad that Ten Hag put his own touch on that team and was able to make changes. And it felt like they were his decisions today, whereas I think in other games there hasn't been. And I'll tell you what, some of those players that were dropped today, given the performances of those that started, they're going to find it very difficult to get back into that team. There's no reason going into Southampton on the weekend for him to make massive changes.
Yeah, Holly, as Jordan says there, obviously we can talk about the changes that were obviously made to the team, and I agree with the changes that were made. I thought, to be fair, dropping Ronaldo was a bit of a risky move, but obviously in hindsight, it obviously looked like a positive one. And we got a super chat here from Majek saying, "Is this the end of Ronaldo now?" What's your thoughts? Do you think that this could possibly, kind of be the time where he gets weaned out of the squad and then, is moved on?
No, I think Ronaldo is still Ronaldo, and he still deserves the respect that he's gained throughout his career. But there will be different games where we have to set up differently. Today, I think Ten Hag set up perfectly, where he knew we would hit on the break, and we needed the pace up front. So that's why, obviously, he chose the likes of Elanga, Rashford, and Sancho going forward. I think Ronaldo will definitely be used throughout the season. He's Ronaldo, and he got us kind of to where we were last season. I know it wasn't great, but if it wasn't for him, we would have been a lot worse off. He would have been fuming, obviously, about not playing. This is arguably the fixture that everyone looks out for on the calendars every year, but it just we couldn't set up that way. We had to set up differently, and the way we did set up, unfortunately for him, was the correct way. And he came on and in the last 10 minutes and kind of just tried to help carry the game to the end, but it won't be the end of Ronaldo. I think, especially if he has to stay this season, he will benefit us and our team. We just have to find a way to get him in, to get him in to face teams that suit us more.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's whether he's willing to possibly sit on the bench against teams that Ten Hag, doesn't really want to use him against, like the likes of Liverpool, like you just seen. But Red Devil with a super chat here, kind of reiterating Jay's point. Maguire's performance was the best. He should keep doing what he did today. Fabulous performance. Luke Shaw was good as well. Glad Casemiro is here. That's obviously, a good one. And also another super chat from Amar. The most important thing is that this match was putting Liverpool further away from the title competition. Surely, obviously, that's a lot of Liverpool fans going to be looking at that performance, and that's obviously more points dropped. But we can obviously talk about more changes to the team. Obviously, we've touched on it. Harry Maguire being dropped, and how good of a performance that was, defensive performance. Martinez and Varane looking unreal. How Varane was ever dropped by Maguire and put on the bench, I will not know. But Jay, you're obviously an advocate for Maguire sitting on the bench. Do you think? Obviously he's not going to start the next game, right?
I'm an advocate for Maguire sitting at home in his mansion and not even on a team bus. Look, it was a poor indictment of the previous manager that Varane sat on the bench for Maguire. But look, by the by, I think today we saw that back four was literally underwent a revolution. You had Martinez, Varane, and you also had Delot, who I thought was decent today. And as well as that, Malacia. I think if you're Luke Shaw, you should be also be very, very worried. And I raised a point during the week on Twitter that was like this English mafia at the club. Well, I think today it's been proven that Ten Hag is not going to be a servant of that mafia, and he's breaking it up. And today, that was the best since. I know we got that conceded goal with Mo Salah being so sharp in the box, and a lot of the pundits are probably going to call out Martinez for that. But look, it's a simple mistake. It happens. It's Mo Salah. He's literally a fox in the box. He's going to do that to you. But this is the first time that we, as a fan base, have seen Varane and Martinez together. And barring that little slip for Salah, I felt they didn't put a foot wrong. For me, Varane was man of the match. That was a captain's performance. But seeing him go down late in that game with cramp, centre backs should not be going down with cramp. So I'd be very worried about Varane going forward. And can Varane stay fit?
Yeah, they both. Martinez went down with cramp as well just before that, I think. So yeah, it's obviously
tactical. That's continental time wasted. That is, yeah. That's being streetwise, Jay.
I hope it is. Listen, Jordan,
the dark arts of the game.
I hope that Varane has brought some of the dark arts he learned from my man Sergio Ramos in Madrid. And Sergio Ramos literally could write 10 chapters of dark arts. He was a master of them. So listen, I want to be wrong. I hope it wasn't cramp. If it's dark arts, I'm all for it, my friend.
Yeah, I think it was dark arts.
Yeah, that we can obviously touch on Bruno Fernandes's dark arts or shithousery, as I like to say, because there's obviously a lot of that going on. But Zane is saying, "Good you won. It will give you a false sense of confidence when you face the mighty Gunners soon. Saka and Jesus are ready." Zane, you're not going to know what's coming when big Martial, Rashford, and Sancho are running at your defence. De Gea's terrible distribution made Liverpool look a lot better than they were, although De Gea. Okay, don't know where that's gone. Our back four won the game for us, and De Gea looked so good. Don't want to see McFred or Magaluf ever again. Glazer out should continue, even if United unveil with Jesus holding a jersey. Still want them out. Yeah, and that was obviously what we were saying earlier on. Is don't kind of deviate from the main message here. Ronaldo was player of the season last year. The disrespect shown against Ronaldo is disgusting. Ronaldo needs to start games in a World Cup year. But kind of more on the.
Sorry,
yeah, go on.
Just on that point, like people get so carried away. Like you have a squad for a reason. Not every game is for every player, and it's important for Ten Hag to identify which games certain players can be used from. And the issue we've had under previous management is it was just the same players being used for every single game, and there was other options on the bench, and they weren't given an opportunity. So for a game like today, where you need to be mobile, you need to track back, so on and so forth, he looked at it and went, "Ronaldo's not right for this game." But then on the weekend, he looks at it and thinks, "Actually, well, do you know what? No, Alanga could drop to the bench, Ronaldo can start." Then that's okay. Not every decision should divide the fan base.
I think as well, we've got to remember that Ronaldo didn't have a pre-season with everyone else, so. Although, as much as Ronaldo will say he's obviously ready and is up to scratch, then Ten Hag is obviously looking at it and thinking, that maybe he isn't. And you're right that against Liverpool, that he's obviously wanting to do that high press, and he obviously thinks that or thought that Rashford was that option, and then bringing Martial on as well. But yeah, Aki Dave is saying, I think cramp shows their work rate. Never seen Maguire with cramp. I mean, obviously it can show work rate, but ultimately it's also just kind of can be old age and lack of salts and everything in the body. But what moving forward for this, obviously this result is huge, right? And we kind of touched on it, but I want to get back to it. And moving forward, obviously the momentum that we should gain from this result, Holly, we should then realistically go into a game like Southampton next week, and we should hopefully use this and thump them, right?
Yeah, it shows that we can do it as well. It shows that these players do have some heart. Like all the excuses that we've had, and we've, as fans, just come together and said, look, it's not in these players. They've shown today that they can turn up against the biggest team in the league, and they can prove that they have got the heart and they can go out there and put the effort in. So all we ask is that we see that week in and week out. We just need to see consistency. They're paid enough and they're at the biggest club in the world. All they have to do now is just be consistent and play the game that they're here to play. That's all they have to do. But we now know that they can do that. You've done that. You've turned up in front of Old Trafford after 2 horrible results. You've come out and you've given us a performance we can be proud of as fans for the first time in God knows how long. All you need to do is build on that now. If this is the easiest time, I think that they can do this now. They can just go to training tomorrow morning or whenever they go back, be positive, build towards something else. And even the chemistry today in that game was great. Like, it was a lot better than we're used to seeing. It's obviously not perfect, and there is obviously a lot of flaws still in the performance and still in the team itself. But all we can do now is just build from that and try and be positive and work on the things that we did wrong and try and do more of the things that we did right.
That's the thing as well. We've got to obviously take that into the away games, right? We obviously have gone quite a long period of time without winning an away game. And Midge 36 is saying, don't fix what's not broken. Keep Ronaldo on the bench or let him go. We are moving forward, and by the grace of God, keep Maguire on the bench. Surely an unchanged side, barring Casemiro. That's a good point actually there from Steve Locke, Jay. Although it's obviously a pretty good performance today, does Casemiro just come straight in against Southampton?
For me, watching that game today, I said it last year in the show, Scott McTominay does an impression of Patrick Swayze in Ghost week in, week out. He goes missing, and the only time he turns up is to put in some stupid tackle and get booked. He was a ghost again today. He was 5 out of 10. Casemiro has got to walk straight into the back four. I've said on this show many times, football is about your spine. your goalkeeper, your centre back, your CDM, your centre forward. A lot we made out of Rashford scoring today. You take Rashford's goal out of that game, personally, I don't believe he had a good game. Personally, I think his football IQ is still very, very poor. You play Rashford and Ronaldo 20 games each. Who's your money on to score more goals, Charlie? It's got to be Ronaldo. So I don't accept this narrative that's going to come out now in the next 48 hours on social media. Oh, Rashford should place Ronaldo. Ronaldo should go. We don't read Ronaldo. That's absolute bullshit. I don't accept that. Moving forward, I would bring Casemiro the weekend, and I would put Rashford back out on the right, and I would start Ronaldo next week. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and Belay Visual is saying here, did Rashford put in this performance for a new contract? We will wait and see. Big up, Jay. So, yeah, I mean, obviously today we actually scored some goals, right? We scored 2 goals from open play, and it's not an own goal. So why do we what changed, right? We've gone from the previous 2 games not creating chances, everyone's saying, and not having that goal threat, and against arguably one of, if not the best team in the league, we're creating chances, Jordan.
Yeah, it comes from the back, doesn't it? For me, it's the confidence. I think you look at that back 4-5 with De Gea, and Varane just come in there and just added a level of calmness, which then allowed the midfielders to sort of crack on with their game. There was a lot more tenacity. I think a lot of questions that were asked from the Brentford game, a lot of people panic. There's a lot of disrespect shown to David De Gea, people on this channel. You look at Martinez, he can't be a centre-back. Well, he can, but again, there's certain games that he's right for. Today he was right for it. A game where you needed a bit of passion and somebody that was willing to put themselves about, he's perfect for. Somebody that might be, having an attack which is a bit more physical and play a bit more over the top, he might struggle against with balls in the air. But today he was perfect for it. He played a great game. Malacia played a great game. So the defence filled the midfield with confidence, so they weren't as concerned about tracking back. And we were able to play our own game. I think it was right to not play Ronaldo in this game. I feel like we needed the legs. We needed players that were going to be able to track back and offer support to the fullbacks. But Southampton, again, we need to play our own game. We shouldn't show them too much respect. For me, I agree with Jay. Ronaldo should come back into that side. And I didn't think McTominay offered anything. I'm not going to go in on him today, but I don't think he offers enough to be a starting midfielder week in, week out. Casemiro will come in and give us a completely different dynamic to that side.
Yeah, and I think, Jay, to put it to you, do you think if Nunez plays in that game, it's a completely different kind of game for Martinez? Or do you think Martinez would be comfortable dealing with, obviously, the height and balls in behind that Liverpool obviously lacked today through Firmino?
Look, this is the first time today that we saw Martinez and Varane play together. And as I already alluded to, barring that, fast reactive finish by Salah, up to that point, neither of them put a foot wrong. We've said on a couple of shows, Charlie, that the key conduit to the favour of that back 4 was Harry Maguire. Just because next week we're playing against a bigger striker does not mean that Harry Maguire walks back into that team. I think that back 4, for now, give it 6-7 minute games. Let it settle. You got Casemiro sitting in front of it, and let Casemiro build up that synergy sitting in front of Varane, we played in front of for 7, 8, 9 years at Madrid. If I'm the manager, which clearly I'm not, that's what I would do. I would let the back 4 evolve and play them week in, week out with Casemiro, and let those 5 players learn each other's games.
That's the thing. Defence wins you titles, right? And I'm not saying that we're going to go and win any titles anytime soon, but you don't want to keep chopping and changing your back 4. They're the ones that you obviously want to build the most chemistry with. And Holly, I want to put it to you and on kind of what Jay mentioned there. It was obviously a sloppy goal to concede, and there was probably a few errors leading up to that goal, and it looked like it was coming. To be fair, they're obviously dominating possession, and it's bound to happen. But what do you think? What do you think we could have done better to kind of obviously stop Liverpool getting that goal?
Regardless of whether how we play, there's obviously we're going to concede chances. It is Liverpool, and I know today they were way off the mark, but they are going to get in the box, especially someone like Mo Salah. Regardless of how he's playing or how his teammates are playing around him, he will get in and around the box, and he will make people's lives difficult. So I can't sit here and say that I'm disappointed with how they performed at the back, because I think this is probably the best performance we've had at the back for a long while, and it just tells all honesties about the partnership we had at the back. I think even Dalot and Malacia, they were unbelievable today. De Gea looked confident. Like you guys said, you start from the back and the whole team looked confident. Like it looked like a team that could really trust their back four. We could play back there. We could play football around them. De Gea looked like he was more commanding in the box as well, and like he actually wanted to be there and not just. I know he took it was a bad game against Brentford, but for him to come back out there today and perform how he did is massive for him, and he needed that. The whole back four needed that. Dalot, like I said, the fullbacks played really well as well. So it's not that I can't really say that they could do anything better or worse. I'm happy with how they performed, but we are going to ship chances. Unfortunately, it is part of the game. Even against the worst teams in the league, the odd time you will ship a chance, but I'm happy with how we dealt with them today. They were very quiet considering the attacking threat that Liverpool have. Yeah,
maybe it was De Gea's new hairstyle that made him have a little bit of a better game. But that's one thing I wanted to touch on actually. Is I saw a lot of tweets. I think it was during around the 60-minute mark when obviously things were getting a little bit touch and go. You obviously see when defenders make a tackle and they're high-fiving each other, and a lot of people are saying, why are they doing that? But it's clean sheets to defenders are the same as scoring goals to strikers, right? And Jordan, we'll go to you on this, and obviously your thoughts. But to me, when a defender is high-fiving and showing appreciation, even if it's just the small things, putting your foot in or blocking the ball, it does show that camaraderie and that togetherness that you wouldn't really expect from losing your previous two games, right?
Togetherness is the exact word that I was going to say. That's exactly what you want to see, and this is where it comes from. You don't need to wear a captain's armband to be a leader. You can be a leader just through your own performances. And in the first, I think it was like 5-6 minutes, Martinez put a tackle in on Salah, got up, run past him, and stuck his shoulder into him just to let him know that he was there and it wasn't going to be an easy 90 minutes. When have you ever seen Harry Maguire do that? I've never seen Harry Maguire do that. Wants to be everybody's friend, wants to high five players he's playing against and England colleagues and whatnot. And the tone was set from that moment that this wasn't going to be an easy game. and that you're right, that those high fives and whatnot, that they're their own unit. And it becomes a telepathic unit when you get used to playing with each other week in, week out. You know who to go. You know who's going to sit. You know who's going to go. You know who's going to jump. You know who's going to stay grounded. It's all those things. And what you want to see is a back five that plays week in, week out. You don't want it to chop and change. And for me, the back five today is our back five going forward.
Yeah, exactly. I think obviously there's a lot of speculation about the possibility of a new kind of right back being brought in if Wan-Bissaka does depart. But yeah, for me, I think I do agree with you in that sense that kind of whoever we bring in, that Dalot does show promise. He hasn't obviously played too well the previous two games, but nonetheless, obviously we touched on the kind of negative of them scoring a goal, but we can talk about the positives of us scoring 2 goals today. Obviously, Rashford and Sancho. Sancho's finish was obviously really, really, calm, composed, and something that probably our wingers haven't really shown. And to show it in a game like Liverpool, Jay, don't you think it's a sign of possibly improved confidence and hopefully better performances to come?
Yeah, just to start off, obviously, with the Sancho goal. Today, I saw the Sancho that I saw play with Dortmund finally arrived at Old Trafford today. Last season, he was in and out of the squad. He was inconsistent. I think it was a massive confidence issue. But today, scoring that goal on, I would argue, Charlie, the biggest stage on world football. He's a phrase I've often used in the show is that when a striker's in the box or any guy who have a shot, you've got ice in your veins. And the composure he showed today in that box, that was literally ice in your veins moment. And I hope that is a tipping point now for Sancho, and we get Sancho back on Dortmund settings. For United, I'm sorry, but he has not done it. So today, this is his chance. Tipping point moment, Sancho. Do it week in, week out.
Yeah, that's it. That's obviously we want to see the full potential of Sancho. Obviously, he hasn't really hit the ground running, but we hope to obviously see the best of him. Ten Hag talking to Keane, he said today's team is purely tactical. I have Casemiro, Varane, Ronaldo. They have won everything. For me, Varane man of the match. Respect for Ronnie, he will score goals. Says Christine. Also, did you guys hear Eric's F-bomb live on Sky? That was brilliant. Nice to win. Good to see you back, Jay. Brill show, guys, says Jay Sood. Yeah, appreciate all the super chats, guys. Sorry if I missed some, but obviously there's a lot to talk about. We can kind of move on to individual praise, and obviously I don't know if you guys do have any thoughts on if anyone made any mistakes. Holly, we'll go to you first. Who was your standout performers in today's game for Manchester United?
For a change, I think Bruno played well. Obviously he lost possession a lot, but it's nice to see Bruno playing so positive for a change. Rashford looked good today, I think. Obviously it's not anything to write home about in regards to how consistently they do play, but I do think they looked more positive today. Varane, obviously, of the back four, you can't get past the back four. Varane was like Varane today. He was just brilliant. He did not put a foot wrong. Martinez was, again, he was outstanding. And the fullbacks for me were brilliant today. But I have to go with Varane. I think Varane was amazing. And he just took control of the back four and set the standard from then.
Hol, you know I like you. Yeah. I got a lot of time for you. I don't mind giving Beth a hard time, but I don't like doing it to you. But Bruno was terrible today.
But there was some positive play. There was some positive play from Bruno. I'll be the first one to say that Bruno has been trashed for a long time, a lot longer than he should have been. But we got to take the positives, Jordan.
No, he should have been sent off. I was like, what was he doing with our ball? And he's just. No, not for me. I don't agree. I thought he was. He's just where we've seen him before for us to today. It wasn't good.
Yeah, of
and
course,
we seen earlier about dark arts. He was showing dark farts with some of the movements he was doing with the rolling on the ball and the diving to try and win the penalty and stuff like that. It's embarrassing, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, there was definitely some bad aspects to his game, but I just thought, especially in the first half, I thought he looked better in the first half, especially.
Yeah, his work rate was better.
Holly, with all due respect, you had a bit of a Beth moment there. She was calling out David De Gea 2 weeks ago, and we had to put her in our place as well. Bruno was terrible today. He's constant posturing with the referees. Okay, go back to after the goal. We discussed the back four behaving as a unit, high-fiving. Even after the goal went in, look, there was none of the back four were attributing blame to each other as a group. None of them were having to go over each other. Bruno was the one, again, throwing his toys out of the pram. I thought, 68 minutes today, I would take Bruno off. I thought he was very, very poor. Again, we have praised Bruno on shows. His stats during the lockdown season were second to none, but we got to call Bruno now for what he is. When Bruno signed that contract, his standards just dropped off. And we said in a previous show, can Bruno be a cog in the Ten Hag wheel? If he can, we still got to see it. Today, he was poor. Call a spade a spade.
Guys, just a question.
Go ahead, Jordan.
Is it the captain curse?
He's not a captain.
It's
not a captain.
Interesting because there was actually stats that were brought up on screen during the game of comparing when Bruno plays with and without Ronaldo, and showing that when he doesn't play with Ronaldo, he obviously contributes to a lot more goals, getting assists, etc. So that was kind of my next point that I was going to put to you, Jay, in terms of as much as you say you don't think he performed well, but we did see a better work rate. Do you think that has anything to do with Ronaldo not being in the, kind of them two not playing together?
Look, there was a better work rate, but Bruno is not a captain. Okay, he does not have the composure to act as the captain. The captain I pitched today was Varane or David De Gea, because Varane, he has leadership skills and he's calm, cool, collected. Bruno, you know, he's like that kid in school. You give him a box of Smarties before they go out in the playground and they're running around like a headless chicken. He's not a captain for me. And if you look at a captain going up to a referee and incessantly moaning at the referee, and it comes down then to the end of the game, and the referee is mindful of, I've had this gobshite in my ear for 85, 90 minutes, and the decision is 50-50. Your captain, because he's been moaning all game to the referee, he will not get the 50-50. So when a captain sees it fit to discuss a point in a game with a referee, he's got to choose his battles and choose them wisely. So for me, that's not a captain. To the stats thing, look, you can put out stats to prove pretty much anything. Okay, for me, Bruno was poor today, and I stand by that. Yes, the game today, Rashford was the better option up front. However, once Rashford ran out of steam, which he almost does, I don't think he's up to the level of fitness yet. I think he should have come off earlier for Ronaldo. The jury's out on Bruno. Okay, I would start Eriksen at 10 over Bruno week in, week out right now on the current form. I think Bruno needs time on the bench to see a better Bruno going forward.
Yeah, I said that previously. I would drop Bruno and push Eriksen further up. I think the issue is that he probably did actually play better than he has played. But these moments.
That's all I meant.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Bruno's going to take us to a title. I'm really not saying that. I'm just saying that I liked what I saw in snippets from Bruno today. I didn't mean that he's completely turned a corner.
Yeah, I think the penalty. I think the dive for the penalty and grabbing the ball and then harassing the referee at the end of the first half and stuff. These moments, as your captain, kind of overpower your performance. You know, it just wasn't really a good look. But I just want to make a point about Eriksen. I really felt like he massively dropped off after about 60 minutes, fitness-wise. I don't know if he will grow into it, but that is something for us to keep an eye on. Can he play a full 90 minutes and have an impact across a full 90 minutes, given his fitness?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the positive with Eriksen is that he is versatile and that he can play in a handful of positions, 10, 8, maybe not 6 after the Brentford game. Not
6.
But yeah, he could play in a fair few positions. But actually, speaking of stats, there was actually some stats on Manchester United's running that I wanted to bring into it. And Manchester United ran, so this was against Brentford, they ran 95.6 kilometres. But this evening, they managed 113.78 kilometres, completing 155 sprints. That's 51 sprints collectively, more than Liverpool's players who ran 110.6 kilometres in total. Now, Jay, obviously, we know that Ten Hag had them in the next day running, I think it was the extra 13 kilometres that Brentford did more than them. Obviously, the work rate and the sprints and everything needs to improve, and I think just because we've seen it for one game doesn't mean that it's going to be a given every single game, but it's definitely something that's got to turn into a given, right? Work rate and work ethic has got to be the bare minimum at Manchester United. Well,
looking there, you're saying 95.6 kilometres run via Brentford, and you say 114 kilometres via Liverpool. That's a 20% differential on kilometres in a space of 10 days. The players' fitness levels have not, Charlie, you play at a decent level. The fitness levels don't increase in 10 days, right? But what has changed clearly is attitude. Attitude has changed in the last 10 days. Because I believe those players did not want to go out on front of their own fans and be embarrassed again, the same way they were last season. So attitude changed over those 10 days. Fitness levels didn't. I think that are the players fit enough to cover 140 kilometers game in, game out? Probably not. But I flagged on shows for years that I believed that the strength and conditioning department in Carrington was broke. I think those players in general are very very badly trained. So obviously we don't know what's happening in the background. I hope Ten Hag's been in there and brought in his own fitness team and his own analytics. Over the course of the season, can they run 110, 115 kilometers week in, week out? Time will tell over the course of the season. It's all well and good, Charlie, to do it at home against Liverpool, in front of your home fans, your backs against the wall. But can we see the same level of intensity next weekend against Southampton and the week after and the week after? And that is when I will start judging the players and their effort.
That's the thing, as I say, it is and should be considered the bare minimum, right? Holly, I'll go to you on this next point, and I'm not sure if you guys made any notes during the game, but I want to kind of debate what you guys have written down and your thoughts on, obviously, how people performed. I've written down personally how good Varane and Martinez looked playing the high line and having that agility and mobility that Maguire doesn't offer. And you saw that, especially in the first half, when, kind of before Liverpool started taking proper domination of the game, that our wing backs were fully, bombing on. And you even saw sometimes that Malacia would stay back and Martinez would actually go into that kind of number 6 centre midfield role. Obviously, that's something that I'm guessing Ten Hag would have been working with. But yeah, I'm guessing what I'm asking is just kind of your key takeaways and key moments from this game.
I really enjoyed Martial when he came on. I thought he did a really good job in the role that he came on to play. His hold-up play was really good. He could take the ball and he could run with the ball. His passing was really good as well. He obviously set Rashford up. He was really good today, I thought. Again, with just like you guys said earlier, Eriksen, we know what he's capable of, obviously, with his distribution of the ball. Slightly quieter today, I thought, but it is a game where you are going to have to put the miles in, and it might not always be as rewarding as you would like. But yeah, lots of positives today, I think. Hopefully, well, it wouldn't be hard to get more positives than obviously the previous games, but the back four again, like you said, Charlie, I think they were really, really good. Just build from there, really. That's all I can say on that one.
Yeah. Jay, obviously I'd like to say, I know it's easy to kind of get carried away, but hopefully we can, or the players can stay grounded after that performance. And it's not kind of, back to square one against Southampton. As you say, the bare minimum is kind of work rate and work ethic. But what were your key moments and key takeaways from tonight's game?
Okay, we've done Varane and Martinez already. He was called the Butcher of Amsterdam. So he's now the El Nuevo Carnicero de Manchester, the Butcher of Manchester. We've done those two. For me, standouts, Dalot, Malacia. Malacia, is this what his second game for the club, if I'm not mistaken? And
yeah, his first
for me, guys,
start, I think.
First start for second. Yeah, first start, second game. So his first start today, his first start in the cauldron of Old Trafford against Liverpool. Lads, he looked for me like he'd been doing it for 10 years. Just, he slotted in, there's no fuss. It reminded me a lot of Dennis Irwin back in the day. Younger watchers won't know who Dennis Irwin is, but Dennis Irwin was one of the first names at Ferguson's team sheet. Consistently 7.5, 8 or 10, game in, game out, nothing flashy, no fuss. And for me, that's what I saw from Malacia today. And I said it previously, if you look Shaw, you should be very, very worried. Obviously, Armand Bissaka came on towards the end for Dalot. I think Dalot, again today, he's better performance. He's growing confidence week by week. And finally, what Jordan and I have been asking for the last 2 years in the show, a manager that has the confidence in his back four to play a high line. You cannot play a high line with Armand Bissaka. You can try it with Luke Shaw, but I think Luke Shaw is very slow getting back. So high line today, that's my big positive with those two fullbacks.
Yeah, Jordan, what do you think of what do you want to add to the high line as Jay mentioned?
Yeah,
you advocates for it.
Yeah, not to repeat everything everyone said, but I think the biggest thing for me is that people were going on about the signings that Ten Hag wanted to make, and these are all players that have played for him before, all from the same league. But I think what what he is trying to achieve, it's not so much the players, it's the characters and the personalities. And that's what you saw today. You saw from Martinez, somebody that came in and that was up for the fight and up for the challenge. You looked at Malacia, they're up for it. They know what's expected of them. And that then becomes infectious, and it's a knock-on effect to other people. And then other players look and go, well, actually, if they're playing at an 8 or 9 out of 10, and I'm a 4 or 5, I need to raise my game to be level-headed with these other, level pegging with these other players. So that's the big thing for me. And this is where, I mean, Harry Maguire does not get back into that team now. As long as those centre-backs are fit, there is absolutely no reason to make a change and to bring him in. He doesn't offer anything that those players can't do. So that was the big thing for me. And you look at the other people that he's trying to bring in, the reason why he's bending over backwards to try and get Anthony is that he knows him. He knows what is expected of him. And it was one of those things with Mourinho. I remember when he signed Matic, and that was his general out on the pitch, because he knows he's played from before and he can trust him. And Ten Hag needs 4 or 5 of those players that he can trust, he can send out there, and he knows exactly what he's going to get from them. And that was the big thing for me, was that there was fight. And I know everyone goes, oh, well, you shouldn't talk about passion. Passion should just be expected with Manchester United. We can't be that arrogant. And if there's something the last 18 months has taught us, is that we can't just expect passion as a given. But today, the players did show some level of passion. And that's what we need to see going forward. I'm happy if we lose 3-0, but everybody goes out and gives 110%, we've lost 3-0. But what happened against Brentford was absolutely disgusting. And there's no better game to turn a corner than against Liverpool today. But it'll mean absolutely nothing if we can't go and give the same level of performance against Southampton on the weekend.
Yeah, it kind of will unwrite everything, right? If we go and even if we go and beat Southampton, and it's a 1-0 win, but we do play like we did against Brentford or Brighton, then it's back to the drawing board, which isn't very good. But one thing I want to bring up is obviously I think we spoke about on a previous show. I'm not sure if it was against Brentford or Brighton, but we questioned Ten Hag's substitutes. I think it was he brought 2 or 3 players on in like the 89th minute when we're 2-0 down, and it was a bit strange. But today we saw 3 changes. Obviously in the 85th minute, it was Ronaldo, Van der Beek, and Wan-Bissaka coming on, Rashford, Eriksen, and Dalot exiting the field. Holly, what's your thoughts? Obviously bringing Ronaldo on in the 85th minute is a little bit strange. For my brain to work out, right? It's usually he's obviously the main starter, or he generally doesn't feature. But yeah, obviously making use of the new 5 sub rule. So do you think that was better use of the subs? Obviously trying to see out the game.
Yeah, he can't be the star of the show every week. Like Jordan and Jay said earlier, there's a squad that you have to pick from. Sometimes this 11 will work different to another 11. Today was gonna be. We knew Liverpool were going to take the ball and they were going to try and control the game. We needed someone that had the pace that would run in behind. That's all it is. I don't think people should read into Ronaldo being picked and Ronaldo's been like unjustified his starting position. Ronaldo still contributed to the team by sitting on the bench and letting someone go in ahead of him. It's that he's still contributing to the team, just like everyone else is that played the 11 today. There's going to be weeks where someone like Rashford or Elanga will miss out on the team sheet because Ronaldo can do a better job. It shouldn't be taken so personal. The team, we are a team and we're all contributing to the same thing. One week someone will miss out because, like we said earlier, someone will do a job better than that person. That's all it is.
Yeah, and go on, no, Karen.
You mentioned Elanga. Guys, talk to me about the pain of Elanga's miss.
I know.
Yeah, I know. I was just about to bring up Elanga actually and say, what were your thoughts on? I know he only got, I think it was 45 minutes, and I thought it was a bit of an odd substitution. Actually, now we're on the topic of it. I thought he was doing well, causing Trent some problems. But Jordan, how did you think Elanga performed?
Yeah, for me, I don't think Elanga's ready. I think he still needs to be bedded into the team. But I did think he played well in the first half. If he had the same level of composure as Sancho, he would have put that chance away. And I do think he can offer us something. I don't want to be in a position where we're relying on Elanga like we were at points last season. But in games like today, where you need legs, you need options, you need players who are willing to track back, then there's definitely a position for him. I think if the signings come in like an Anthony that's being mentioned, I think that will limit Elanga's game time, to be honest. But I thought he played well. I personally would have given him another 10, 15 minutes in the second half. But I think the reason he made the change is that you allowed 5 substitutions, aren't you? But you can only make 3 stoppages in the game, right? But the additional stoppage is half time. So I think he wanted to make the change then in case he needs to react to anything that Liverpool did in the second half. So I kind of understand the tactical reasons behind him making that decision.
Yeah. There's loads of different ways to obviously look at it. But Lee Taylor is saying, to top it off, Van Disney is trending in honour of Van Dijk. We need consistency now to back up that performance. Martinez and Malacia was on fire. You're all speaking very wisely. Who would rotate with Varane? Because I'm happy if Maguire never plays again, says Geraldo Fares. That is an interesting one. Obviously, it's a very common theme that obviously a lot of people are quite content with Maguire sitting on the bench, or if you agree with Jay, is just sitting at home on his sofa. Obviously, there is a possibility that Varane is probably likely to get injured at some point during the season. His injury record last season wasn't great. So we'll go to you, Jay, on is Harry Maguire good enough to be that rotation, or would you rather have a Lindelof be that kind of rotation option?
Well, I think Jordan knows exactly what I'm going to say.
I know exactly what's coming.
I think I do as well, to be fair.
This is my brother. This is my brother in Cardiff right here. He knows what I'm going to say. I'm going to say play Eric play Beck's Boy ahead of him. Can you imagine Boy beside Martinez and what that would give you? Those two together. Just let that sit. Eric Boy and Martinez playing together in the back four in a high line. Harry Maguire cannot play in a high line. Eric Boy can. Lindelof, I think Lindelof is physically weak, but he's better on the ball, I feel, than Maguire. His passage is better, and he's faster than Maguire. So what does Harry Maguire offer you in the back four, apart from physical presence, clearing headers? That's it. He clears headers. Nothing more, nothing less. So why would you bring him back? Why? Because he's English. He cost 80 mil. There are the reasons for me that's going to come back.
Yeah, Jordan, I'm not sure what your thoughts are, but obviously a lot of people are very keen for Maguire to stay out of the team after that performance.
Look, he's limited. He's been found out, and he's a massive reason why that back four isn't functioning the way it should do, and teams are able to get around us. We've signed a centre back now that you look today, he's offering us something that we haven't had from any of the other centre backs. I agree with Jay. I wouldn't be sending Bailly out on loan or selling him for 7 million. We clearly don't need the 7 million, and he's worth more to us than 7 million. And if it's a case of managing Varane's game time, and you alternate between him and Bailly, that's what I would do. I think Lindelof is a little bit too paperweight for the Premier League and gets found out against front lines that are a bit more upper body strength. So for me, it would be Bailly as the player that comes in. But I tell you what, Martinez and Bailly will be fun for as long as it lasts. There will be red cards and limbs flying all over the place.
Yeah, it'll be carnage, as I say. But Holly, I'll come to you. Do you think the possibility, obviously, Harry Maguire has notably played quite well for England, but obviously it's kind of a back 5/back 3. Do you think if we develop our system against certain teams, that if we were to move into that kind of back 3 where Harry Maguire does have a little bit more protection, do you think that is like a possibility where Maguire could be of use?
Yeah, if that was what we were going to do and we were going to a back 3, then he could be. But in like today's circumstance with the back 4 that was played today, there's no reason as to why he should get played again. Not because of he's Maguire and all the past mistakes before. Just the back four today was solid, and they didn't do, in my opinion, they didn't do much wrong. Mo Salah's a world-class player, and he scored because he's so persistent in the box. But I don't think anyone, regardless of your price tag or who you are or what country you're from, should be getting in ahead of Martinez and Varane today. And even if we were going to a back three, I think Maguire should have to prove himself into that back three. I don't think he should get just put in there because he's Maguire and he's the captain. So,
yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people are going to say is that he obviously was playing during the Ranić era and even at the start it was weird that he was made captain in my opinion, or kept the captaincy, should I say. But Geraldo Fairs is saying, I cannot recall Bailly playing 3 matches without injury. He spent almost half his career hurt if you look at statistics. Well, that is the point that Jay and Jordan are making, right? You play him till he breaks. It's not a necessarily good way to play, but I think personally Bailly is a good player. But Red Devil saying Lindelof any day, and that's because I have no idea what we did to Bailly. He should have been the second choice centre back easily on the bench. But it's always good. I appreciate everyone's super chats and comments. As I say, it's always good to get your guys' opinion. But what I do want to move on to before we kind of start to wrap up the show is some player ratings. I want to go around and kind of speak to you guys about what ratings you'd give the team. Jordan, we'll start with you if you can quickly run through. We'll go with the starting 11 if you can.
Should we just do what each player and all of us give a score rather than
sure
11,
sure. We'll start at the back with David De Gea.
De Gea, I'm going to give him a 7, and the reason so high is that after the absolute howl that he had against Brentford, he showed composure to come back and deal with things. I felt his shot stopping again was brilliant. He didn't seem as shaky at the back, and the cream always rises to the top. The disrespect he had last week was too much for me.
And Jay, sorry.
De Gea last week had the balls come out and face the media. He said, listen, my team conceded goals because of my mistakes. He showed absolute courage at that interview. A lot of respect for the man. Today, didn't put a foot wrong. 7.5.
And Holly?
Yeah, I agree with both of them points, actually. Even putting them both points together, coming out last week and, like you said, Jay, coming out and owning what he's done. And then today to play and give the performance he has done. I actually thought his distribution was better today as well. Obviously, it's not perfect, but we could seem to get the ball from him to other players today. So I would give him an 8 as well. Again, with the shot stopping was great as well.
What I will say on De Gea's distribution sometimes, I think today it actually looked quite good. It's just when you're trying to hit the likes of Alanga, who isn't very good in the air, it can make his distribution look a bit lackluster. And there was a time where he pinged the ball and it was pretty much straight to Alanga, and you can tell that he doesn't really want to go up and win the header. And De Gea's a bit annoyed. But yeah, that's what I would say. But we'll move on to do Dalot and Malaysia as both the fullbacks. Jordan, on their ratings.
What did you give De Gea? Sorry, Charlie.
I think I'd give him a solid 7.5 today.
Okay, cool. Fullbacks. Dalot absolutely stunk the place out last week, and I was really disappointed in his performance. But again, he's somebody else that bounced back, and I feel like with your fullbacks, it is a relationship with your centre backs, and if you've got confidence in the people that are next to you, you can afford to then focus on your own game and not worry about mistakes that the others are going to be making. So I thought Dalot played well. I agree with Jay. If I was Luke Shaw, I'd be sat there thinking, how do I get back into this team? Because I think Malaysia was great. I've got a 7 for Dalot and 8 considering it was the first start for Malaysia.
And Jay, your thoughts on Dalot and Malaysia?
Look, we're caught for airtime, so I'm going to go with everything Jordan said because he's spot on. So we move on.
And Holly?
Yeah, I'd give them both an 8 today. I was really impressed with them today. Just Malaysia as well, coming in. I know he's new into the Premier League. He showed a lot of fight today, and I was really impressed with him.
So anyone else get Evra vibes from Malaysia?
Yeah, he's just a fighter, isn't he?
Yeah,
there was some shouts for that when he joined.
Yeah, I can see it. He gives me those vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. We'll quickly move on. We'll do the centre backs, Varane and Martinez. We'll quickly just give some ratings out. I'd personally go probably both 8.5s today. Actually, Jordan, what do you say?
I'm gonna go 8 for Varane, and I'm gonna go 9 for Martinez. He was my man of the match.
And Jay?
I'm going to go 9 for Varane and 8 for Martinez.
Holly?
Yeah, I'm going to go 9 for Varane and 8 for Martinez.
Cool. And obviously the midfield will start off.
Sorry,
with...
can I just quickly say why I've gone for Martinez? Only because just the bounce back from last week and everyone saying that he couldn't play centre back and all this nonsense, and for him to come and give that performance today and show that steal and to go man to man with Salah the way he did shows me something that some of the other centre backs in our team just don't have. Where Varane, we know he can be that Rolls Royce. So that was my reason.
Well, Jordan, actually, on that, I tweeted at half time that I took Martinez 45 minutes sit down in the English media.
Yeah, not long at all. Much less than I don't think Harry Maguire's sat down in the English media, but they don't usually tend to go after him. But we'll move on to obviously Eriksen and Scott McTominay. Jay, you've obviously got some words on McTominay, I imagine.
Yeah, so he's auditioning for a Ghost sequel. He wants to play the Patrick Swayze role. 5 out of 10. That's it. Move on.
And quickly on Eriksen.
I'm actually going to now start paying attention to Jordan's point. He said that Eriksen run out of gas after 60 minutes. And I'm actually going to pay a lot more attention to Eriksen now later into the game. Look, his touch, his passing is sublime. I think he's just a natural footballer. I'm going to give him 7 out of 10 today, but I will be watching his physical decline in other games.
Yeah, go on, John.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, if you actually think after the 60th minute mark, how often did you hear the commentators sort of mention his name? I just felt his influence seemed to wane after that. Wane? Yeah, that's the word. After that time. Scott, for me, is a 6, but I'm only giving him a 6 because we won. Otherwise, he was a 5. I thought he was activated ghost mode again. And yeah, 7 for Eriksen. From Eriksen, I'd like to see him be better with this set piece delivery. I was expecting bigger things from him from a dead ball situation, and we haven't really seen it yet.
And Holly?
Yeah, I'd give McTominay a 6 today. I don't think he was overly influential on the game, and I think someone in his position should be a lot more, especially against a team like Liverpool. We all give McTominay gets a hard time, but the only good kind of points he does get on a daily basis are that he puts the effort in and stuff. I didn't really see him too physical today, so I would hope that someone maybe more could come and contribute towards that a lot more than he did today. So that's why he's getting a 6. But I think if we did lose, then he would be getting a lower score. It's just we did win today, so
yeah. And we'll quickly move on to Bruno Fernandes. Jordan, what rating would you give him?
I'm going to give him a 6. Again, because we won, I'm going to put him in the McTominay bracket. I thought he showed glimpses of okayness, but he just lets himself down with just being so petulant, and it is embarrassing. And it's one of those that if he didn't play for you and he played for another team, you'd absolutely hate his guts. But the stuff he's doing, it really isn't. It's just not classy. I don't like it.
Jay?
I've got to be consistent on my previous analysis. I think Bruno was poor today, not a captain. So he's obviously had a better game than McTominay, so nothing more than a 6.
And Holly, quickly before we move on to the attackers.
Yeah, I'd give Bruno a 6 today. I just, on my point earlier, I did just say that he was slightly more positive than I have seen him in previous games. His discipline, he lacks it a lot, and it does let him down. But hopefully we can maybe find a way to get him into the team and doing what he was doing for us at one point.
Yeah, I very much hope so. We'll kill 2 birds with one stone. We'll go Elanga and Sancho all in one go. Jay, we'll start with you.
If Elanga scores a 7, so I give him a 6. He played 45 minutes.
And on the other wing, Sancho,
a fantastic goal. I said icing his veins today. Are we going to get Sancho from Dortmund settings? Time will tell. 7 out of 10.
Jordan?
Yeah, I agree. Alanga, lively in the first half, should have showed a bit more composure to put the ball away, but I think that'll come in time, and that's just an experience thing. So I'm happy to leave him at a 6. And I think Sancho, I think he was a handful and troubled their fullbacks. Great goal, absolutely spun. Who was it?
Milner, I think.
Milner, sorry, spun Milner into oblivion. I'm going to give him a 7.5.
And Holly?
Yeah, I'd give Alanga a 6.5 and Sancho a 7.5.
And last but certainly not least, obviously Rashford scoring as well. Jordan, we'll start with you on his rating.
Apart from the goal, I don't think he was great. He had one good run where he beat a couple of defenders and should have had, again, a bit more composure and should know better and should have hit the target. I'm going to give him a 7 because he scored the goal. But again, when you look at areas of improvement in our team, he's a player that I think if we make the correct signing, he's going to struggle to get minutes.
Yeah, and Jay?
Look, he gets the goal, so we got to give him a 7. But we flagged for 3 years in the shows football awareness, composure, and blatant lack of football IQ, which he doesn't have by now because he missed that day at football camp when he was been taught.
And Holly?
Yeah, I'd give Rashford a 7.5 today. Thought he looked a lot better, a lot more positive.
Cool. One quick thing I do just want to grab is score predictions for the next game. Obviously, we're against Southampton away, I think. Just quickly run through that and then we'll wrap up the show. Jay, what's your score predictions for next week?
Okay, if we see the same performance we got today with the same back four, 2-0.
Holly?
Yeah, I agree, 2-0.
And Jordan?
Yeah, I don't want to see a Ward-Prowse masterclass on the weekend. I'm going to go 2-1 because I always think we're vulnerable at conceding at some point. So 2-1 to United.
Yeah, I think I'll go with a 2-0 in my honest opinion. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up the show, guys. Really appreciate everyone for joining me. It's been a great much needed not therapy stand. It's been really enjoyable. I appreciate you guys joining me. Thanks for everyone for watching. All your super chats. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share around. And we'll see you hopefully next